A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and around the globe. I'm Ashwarya and here are this morning's headlines. Home Ministry's advisory to states ahead of Ambedkar Jayanti on Saturday to prevent any untoward incidents. Supreme Court to continue hearing Centre's review petition on SCST Act. Prime Minister to inaugurate Ambedkar National Memorial Centre in the capital. Boeing signs a pact with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and Mahindra for Make in India FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets. India-Russia defence pacts expected at the ongoing Defence Expo in Tamil Nadu today. CBI registers 3 cases in connection with the Unnao gang rape case, the main accused being questioned by probe agency. Congress President Rahul Gandhi leads a midnight march in Delhi, asking centre to ensure safety for women. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena suspends Parliament for nearly a month. No official reason given for the decision that comes in the backdrop of a power struggle between him and Prime Minister Wickremesinghe. And wrestlers Bajrang and Pooja Dhand and Mausam Khatri to fight for gold in their respective categories at the Commonwealth Games. Big day for badminton squad as men's and women's teams play their singles quarter-final matches today. Our top story this morning, Boeing has signed a deal with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and Mahindra Defence Systems to manufacture Super Hornet fighter aircrafts in India. The memorandum for the FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets was signed on the second day of the Defence Expo 2018 that is going on near Chennai. The Super Hornets for India's armed forces will be built at a new state-of-the-art production facility. The deal is a big boost to government's Make in India initiative. This partnership is in preparation for a tender for 110 fighter aircrafts for Indian Air Force. Boeing is among the leading contenders likely to vie for the deal, which could be worth more than $15 billion. An initial tender for 110 combat aircrafts was announced last week that mandates building at least 85% of the order locally. Aircraft manufacturers have to send in their proposal by 6th of July and the winner will have to deliver the first jet within 3 years of securing the contract. The FA-18 Super Hornet will deliver on India's need for a carrier and land-based multi-role fighters. Getting new aircrafts for the armed forces is crucial at a time when India's mainstay Russian MiG fighters are being phased out.
इस पार्टनरशिप के तहत हम लोग इंडिया में फाइटर प्लेन बिल्ड करने के लिए और बिल्ड बनाने के लिए समझौता कर चुके हैं। आपने सुना होगा थोड़े ही दिन पहले फाइटर प्लेन के टेंडर की घोषणा हुई है। फाइटर प्लेन्स हमारी इंडियन एयरफोर्स और इंडियन नेवी दोनों को ही ज़रूरत पड़ती है। ये जो प्लेन जिसके बारे में समझौता हुआ है ये F-18 है, सुपर हॉर्नेट। दुनिया का एक बेहतरीन प्लेन है। सबसे अधिक ये प्लेन यूएस में यूज़ हो रहे हैं, लेकिन काफ़ी दूसरे जो नाटो देश हैं वहाँ भी ये प्लेन यूज़ होता है।
And in related news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called India's commitment to peace just as strong as its commitment to protecting its territory. He said this while inaugurating the Defence Expo on Thursday. He said that the government is making all efforts to equip the defence forces. He also reiterated the government's commitment to making India a leading manufacturer of defence equipment.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Defence Expo at Tiruvedantai near Chennai on Thursday. Stating that the defence sector is government's top priority, he said India is fast emerging as the defence manufacturing hub due to the Make in India policy. The Prime Minister also praised the role of medium and small-scale industries, saying their contribution to defence manufacturing increased 200% in the past 4 years.
We are ready to take all steps required to equip our armed forces, including through the establishment of a strategically independent defense industrial complex. It is heartening to note that the contribution of small and medium scale sector to defense production has grown by 200% in the last 4 years.
The Prime Minister took a dig at the previous UPA government, saying its policy paralysis in the defence sector affected the country's military preparedness. Prime Minister pledged that he will not allow it to happen anymore. The Prime Minister said FDI in the defence sector had been raised from 26% to 49% under the automatic route, while in special cases, 100% FDI is also allowed. The Prime Minister said in less than 4 years, the government has granted defence exports worth $1.3 billion while building 2 defence industrial corridors.
Offset guidelines have been made flexible by allowing changes of Indian offset partners and offset components even in contract already signed. Foreign equipment manufacturers are not now required.
The Prime Minister also launched the Innovation for Defence Excellence scheme, under which defence innovation hubs will be set up across the country. Addressing the event, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said 50% participants at the expo were Indian manufacturers, most of them from the MSME sector.
Because of the Make in India slogan, not only are we going to buy from the various manufacturers, but giving them a place also and an option also for them to produce in India. But even more happy augury is the fact that 50% of this export today has Indian manufacturers and largely among them small and medium industries.
500 Indian and 150 foreign companies are taking part in the 10th edition of the Defence Expo. More than 40 countries have sent their official delegation as well to participate in the 4-day-long event, which is held every 2 years. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to the other top story. Ahead of the Ambedkar Jayanti on 14th of April, the Ministry of Home Affairs has sent out an advisory to the states for taking precautionary steps to prevent violence. The centre has asked all the states to beef up security and check any possible attempt to inciting violence during the event. The MHA also stressed that district magistrates and superintendents of police should ensure peace and check violence in their respective areas of jurisdiction. The MHA has advised for community policing initiative to ensure harmony. The communication was issued in the wake of reports of vandalism of statues in some parts of the country and violence during the Bharat Bandh on 2nd and 10th of April. Meanwhile, in related news, the Supreme Court will continue hearing on the centre's review petition on its verdict on the SCST Act. The centre had on Thursday told the Supreme Court that its recent judgment on the SCST Act has diluted the provisions of the law. The government said that the Apex Court's order of 20th of March had resulted in great damage to the country. In his written submission, Attorney General K.K. Venugopal said that the top court's verdict, which deals with the issue of a very sensitive nature, had caused commotion, anger, unease and a sense of disharmony in the country. The government also said that the confusion created by the Apex Court's verdict may have to be corrected by reviewing the judgment and recalling the directions issued by it. The submission said that through the judgment, the top court has not filled the gaps in the SCST Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989, but rather amended it through jurist legislation. He also stressed that there was a separation of powers between the legislature, the executive and the judiciary, which was inviolable. The centre's submission comes days after several states were rocked by violence during a Bharat Bandh, which was led by Dalit groups on 2nd of April, protesting against the top court's order. The government had filed a review petition in the Supreme Court on 1st of April. And on 3rd of April, the Supreme Court refused to stay its order, saying that it was meant to protect the innocent against the misuse of the Act. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate Dr. Ambedkar National Memorial in New Delhi today. The memorial is dedicated to the life and contribution of Dr. Ambedkar. He is known to be the principal architect of the Constitution of India. The foundation stone for the memorial was laid by the Prime Minister in 2016. The memorial has an exhibition area, meditation hall with a Buddha statue and a 12 feet high bronze statue of Dr. Ambedkar. It is equipped with a sewage treatment plant, a rainwater harvesting system and rooftop solar energy. And to push for the inclusion of marginalized people in most backward villages of the country in welfare schemes, the centre will launch a Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. The 8-phased Abhiyan will be kicked off from tomorrow, the birth anniversary of Bhimrao Ambedkar, with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi launching the campaign from Bijapur in Chhattisgarh. It will go on till 5th of May. The idea is to reach out to the poor in the 21,000 most backward villages in the country and to make them aware about all the government welfare schemes. Now, camps will be set up in these villages to provide the poor benefits under various welfare schemes. And not only that, the government will also observe some days, 14th of April being the Social Justice Day, 18th of April as Swachh Bharat Divas, 20th of April as Ujjwala Divas, 24th of April as Panchayati Raj Divas, 28th of April as Gram Shakti Divas. The government will also observe Ayushman Bharat Divas on 30th of April, Kisan Kalyan Divas on 2nd of May and Ajivika Kaushal Divas on 5th of May.
ये ग्राम स्वराज अभियान एक बड़ी पहल है और इसी आयोजन के अंतर्गत हम लोगों ने 21,000 ग्रामों का चयन किया है। उन 21,000 ग्रामों में 7 केंद्र सरकार की योजनाएं हैं, जिसमें जनधन है, प्रधानमंत्री सुरक्षा बीमा योजना है, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति योजना है, उज्ज्वला योजना है, उजाला योजना है। ये इन सब योजनाओं का 100% आच्छादन हो इन गाँव में। तो 5 मई तक इन गाँव में जो भी व्यक्ति इन योजनाओं के लिए पात्र है उसको उसका लाभ दे दिया जाएगा।
And on to the other top story, Congress President Rahul Gandhi led a midnight candlelight march to India Gate in the national capital to demand justice for the Kathua and Unnao rape victims. Rahul Gandhi said that the protest was not a political statement and demanded action from the centre to ensure women's safety. He also said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Beti Bachao initiative is good, but it needed better implementation. He was joined by his sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and her husband Robert Vadra, besides scores of Congress leaders, party workers.
ये नेशनल मामला है, ये राजनीतिक मामला नहीं है, ये हमारी महिलाओं का मामला है और यहाँ पे सब पार्टी के लोग खड़े हैं, सब पार्टी के लोग, आम जनता खड़ी है, महिलाएं खड़ी हुई है, यहाँ पे आपको हजारों लोग खड़े हैं। मेरा सिर्फ ये कहना है कि देश में जो हालत है, जो महिलाओं के खिलाफ अत्याचार हो रहा है, सरकार को उसके बारे में कुछ करना चाहिए। ये नारा है, बिल्कुल सही नारा है। मोदी जी ने स्वयं कहा बेटी बचाओ। हम मोदी जी से कह रहे हैं कि हिंदुस्तान की जो बेटियां हैं उनको बचाने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी शुरू करें।
And in related news, the CBI has registered 3 cases in connection with the Unnao gang rape case. The move comes after the centre gave its approval for a CBI probe into the rape of a girl in Uttar Pradesh's Unnao district, allegedly by BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh Sengar. Now, Sengar has been detained by the agency and is being questioned right now. The victim in the case tried to immolate herself last Sunday outside UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's residence seeking justice. Her father later died allegedly in police custody, prompting protests. The Allahabad High Court took suo moto cognizance of the gang rape case and appointed an amicus curiae into the matter. The state government recommended a CBI probe and 6 policemen were also suspended. The accused MLA has said that the case is fabricated and that he welcomes a CBI probe into the case. Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said that her government will form a new law to make rape of minors punishable by death. She also assured that justice will be delivered in the rape and murder case of a 8-year-old girl in Kathua district. In Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news.
India-based Neutrino Observatory is basically going to look at neutrinos. The flagship experiment there that we are planning is based on the so-called iron calorimetric detector to measure atmospheric neutrinos. Since we are looking at new knowledge to do things in ways that will involve companies, which will involve industry. So it will benefit industry. This will also excite young students to come into science, which is, I think, good for everybody.
Watch Eureka with Dr. V.M. Datar, Senior Professor INOCell, TIFR Mumbai, Saturday 4 p.m. and Sunday 12 noon. Only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. Retail or consumer inflation eased in the month of March to 4.28%, driven by lower food prices as compared to 4.4% in the month of February. Food price inflation stood at 2.81% in March against 3.26% in February, and the fuel inflation also eased at 5.73% in March from 6.8% in February. The retail inflation softened for the third month in a row at 4.8% after hitting a fresh high of 5.2% growth in December and 5.07% in January due to pickup in food prices and rise in domestic petrol and diesel prices. The Reserve Bank of India has already predicted that inflation will cool in the financial year 2018-19. And growing at more than 7% for the third straight month, industrial growth kept up the momentum in February as well, and it grew at 7.1%. The IIP had risen by 7.5% in January. Manufacturing sector came in flat 8.7% in February as compared to 8.7% in January. Capital goods output grew at 20% in February compared with the 14.6% in the month of January. Electricity production grew 4.5% in February as compared to 7.6% growth in January. And the International Monetary Fund has termed India a leader in the biometric identification system. In its fiscal monitor report on digital government, the IMF has said that the biometric identification and electronic payments have helped reduce leakages in LPG subsidies in India. According to the IMF, estimated savings from digitization range between 0.2 to 21% of cash transfers and 11 to 24% of wrongful payments. It, however, said that necessary measures must be taken to ensure privacy and security controls while implementing programs like Aadhaar. Let's get to some other news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has refuted charges that the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission were biased against certain states. He said that the centre has suggested to the Finance Commission to consider incentivizing states working on population control. The Prime Minister said this in Chennai on Thursday. He added that the issue was being raised by vested interests. He further said that the allegations were baseless and that the centre is committed to cooperative federalism. The Prime Minister's remarks came within days after CPIM-ruled Kerala hosted a conference of finance ministers of southern states, which was also attended by Puducherry. And at this conclave, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Puducherry had opined that the terms of reference were in contradiction to the principles of federalism as enshrined in the Constitution of India and would also result in revenue losses to the performing states. Tamil Nadu had skipped this meeting. The Election Commission of India has told the Supreme Court that it has proposed that rule-making power under the Representation of the People's Act should be conferred on it instead of the centre. The Commission said this in an affidavit filed before the court. The affidavit has been filed after the Apex Court sought the Election Commission's response on a plea seeking the treatment of 2 election commissioners on par with the Chief Election Commissioner in the matter of removability. The Commission informed the court that they have made a proposal in 1998 to the Law Minister to amend Article 324 of the Constitution, which deals with its powers and functions. It said that the same was reiterated in its July 2004 proposal to the government. Not only that, the electoral reforms published by the ECI in 2016 also reiterated the same. The court was hearing a PIL seeking direction to the centre not to remove the two ECs from their office except in a similar manner and grounds provided for removing the CEC. And in a fresh twist to the judges' controversy, Supreme Court Justice J. Chelameshwar on Thursday refused to hear former Minister Shanti Bhushan's plea on the allocation of a case in the apex court. He said that there is a relentless campaign against him ahead of his retirement. He also said that he doesn't want a reversal of his order in 24 hours.
The Supreme Court senior-most judge Justice J. Chelameshwar refused to order the listing of a PIL filed by former Law Minister Shanti Bhushan seeking formulation of guidelines on allocation of cases. Expressing his anguish over affairs in the apex court, Justice Chelameshwar said he did not want another reversal of his order in the next 24 hours. He said he was nearing retirement and did not want to step into another controversy.
आज के सिचुएशन में रोस्टर का इशू कॉलेजियम के इशू से भिड़ चुका है. Effectively both of them have come together and वो इसलिए हुआ है क्योंकि अगर एक पक्ष ये कहता है कि ये डिसीजन अल्टीमेटली सिर्फ चीफ जस्टिस का हो सकता है और दूसरा पक्ष ये कह सकता है कि चीफ जस्टिस खुद ये डिसीजन कैसे ले सकते हैं कि वही सब कुछ है, तो वो जाएं किसके पास. सो ये कॉलेजियम का इशू बन जाता है.
Shanti Bhushan's son and senior lawyer Prashant Bhushan initially mentioned the matter before Justice Chelameshwar, calling it an emergency situation. After being denied urgent listing of the PIL, he rushed to Chief Justice Deepak Mishra's court and mentioned the matter for listing expeditiously. To this, the bench headed by the Chief Justice said they will look into it.
NJAC अगर even if not the old structure, the revised structure को तो थोड़ा consider करना पड़ेगा, जहाँ पे कोई check and balance का system हो, where the judicial independence is also not sacrificed at the altar of some kind of executive motive, but किसी और का भी say हो. अगर executive का ना हो, तो आप इतना तो सोचें कि civil society के लोग, do they have a say, or retired judges, who has a say? Some kind of a committee which is transparent in its process. I think that should be given a shot.
Earlier on Wednesday, a Supreme Court bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra had discarded a similar petition by Ashok Pandey. The Supreme Court ruled that the Chief Justice is first among equals and has the constitutional authority to decide allocation of cases and setting up of benches to hear them. The Apex Court also said that there cannot be a presumption of mistrust against the Chief Justice. Aruna Thakur's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take part in the Commonwealth Heads of Governments meet in London on 19th and 20th of April. All the existing 52 members, including Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, will take part in this meeting. The 53rd member, Maldives, had left the Commonwealth after allegations of human rights violations. This is the first Commonwealth meet after Britain exited from the European Union. This is also the first Commonwealth meet that Prime Minister Modi will attend. The theme of the summit this year is Common Future, during which the heads of governments will also discuss issues related to the development and prosperity. Before the commencement of the meet, Prime Minister Modi will hold summit-level talks with the British Prime Minister Theresa May. And before reaching London, Prime Minister will also visit Stockholm in Sweden on 17th of April, where he will hold the first ever summit of India with all 5 Nordic nations, namely Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland and Finland.
Basically, there are 4 components to the visit. The visit to Sweden has 2 components, the bilateral part, the bilateral component, and there is also the India-Nordic summit which is taking place, the first India-Nordic summit. And then in the UK, again, there is a bilateral component, the bilateral visit, which will be followed by Prime Minister's presence at the CHOGM summit.
Because it is taking charge as the chair in office for the next 2 years from Malta. The summit is formally structured around the theme Our Common Future, and this underlies the sentiment that exists in the Commonwealth grouping that we are increasingly a tightly networked world who either prospers together or suffers together. And therefore, it is very important to work out activities for collective action.
Our top international focus, Sri Lanka's president has temporarily suspended parliament days after fractures appeared in the nation's ruling coalition government. President Maithripala Sirisena prorogued parliament till 8th of May, but no reasons have been given for the decision. Sirisena's move came on Thursday after the government promised a cabinet reshuffle following a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, which was defeated last week. The move has deepened the power struggle between President Sirisena and his unity government's Prime Minister Wickremesinghe. Wickremesinghe had last week won the motion of no confidence moved by the joint opposition and backed by Sirisena's ministers. But 16 lawmakers, most of them ministers from President Sirisena's Sri Lanka Freedom Party, voted in favour of the no confidence motion. They resigned their portfolios and decided to sit with the opposition, weakening SLFP's coalition with Wickremesinghe's UNP party. And on to all the action from the Commonwealth Games, and good news coming in this morning. India has added to its gold medal tally this morning. Tejaswini Sawant has won gold in the women's 50 meters rifle 3 positions final by setting a new games record as well. Anjum Mudgil has won silver in 50 meters rifle 3 positions. Also, wrestler Bajrang Punia is through to the finals in the freestyle 65 kg category after winning his third straight match by technical superiority. Bajrang will grapple for gold later today. Mausam Khatri, a second Indian wrestler, is also through to the final of 97 kg category. Khatri will fight for gold with South Africa's Martin Erasmus later today. And Pooja Dhand is also through to the finals of the women's 57 kg freestyle. However, there has been some setback news just coming in. 2 Indian athletes, race walker KT Irfan and triple jumper Rakesh Babu, have been removed from the Games village and they've been sent back home for the breach of the no-needle policy. And let's look at the overall medals tally. It stands at 33 medals with 15 gold medals for India so far. India is at the 3rd position. And that's it from me and my team in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.